Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adam Bergman's Money Makers, where we concentrate on everything personal finance as it relates to your own personal growth in your financial stability and your journey to financial independence, not just for yourself, but for your family. So if you can dig that, definitely watch this channel. Today, I'm gonna talk about PALANTIR, ticker symbol PLTR. I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna talk about a massive new $90 million 5-year contract that was just locked in. And then I wanna explain to you what net retention of a client actually is. PALANTIR gets a lot of hate for not signing up new government contracts, but the net retention goes under the radar. And in this episode, I'm gonna explain to you exactly what the net retention is, and I'm gonna give you a massive double example of what net retention of a client is and how that counterbalances the lack of new government clients because we are increasing the net amount we are making per client. Before we go any further, I just want to give a huge shout out to the Wolf Pack. This is my group of people from my Patreon. We have our own Telegram group. I'm not shilling you guys to join, but I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for all of the support. It's not easy doing social media, and these guys literally get my back. Thank you so much. Thank you 100 times. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Look how beautiful this article reads. PALANTIR selected for a $90 million 5-year HHS contract vehicle. And if you are very familiar with the words HHS, they stand for Health and Human Services, which has to do with the United States Health. You could think about it very, very simple. And if that name sounds familiar or those 3 letters sound familiar, you're correct, because this is not the first contract we have, and this is definitely not the second contract, but this is the 3rd contract that we have, or contract extension equivalent, with the same government agencies, which I'm gonna explain in the second part of this video. PALANTIR Technology is a leading builder of operation systems in the US and across the US government. Today announced that it has been selected by the Department of Health and Human Services for its 5-year Solutioning with Holistic Analytics Restructured for the Enterprise, or SHARE, blanket purchase agreement. The $90 million blanket purchase agreement will allow HHS officials across the department's many agencies and missions to select the PALANTIR platform to support their work. Listen to what I just said. Just listen. Across the department's many agencies and missions to select PALANTIR's platform to support their work. So this is not for a specific agency. This is for all of the agencies put together. It's very, very important that you understand what that means. It's not a specific division or subdivision of the entire agencies. It's across the entire agency. It's very important to understand that when I'm gonna be reading to you the net retention of a client after this part of the video. PALANTIR's built-in data protection features, innovative technology, and common security framework were deemed well-positioned to address critical technology needs across HHS. HHS established the SHARE blanket purchase agreement to provide the best value to the department and its partnering agencies through a pool of pre-qualified contractors to, among other things, improve the delivery and success of quality and data-driven insights and outcomes. This contracting vehicle marks the expansion of PALANTIR's scope of work with the HHS and is separate and distinct from PALANTIR's work with HHS and its agencies on COVID-19 related health missions. All right, I never read this article yet. This is brand new. It came out less than an hour ago, and I'm bringing you this absolutely breaking news. This article is doing my job for me and is explaining to you what I wanted to really, really dig deep into and explain to you and make sure that you understand this. PALANTIR started with HHS. They started from a $17 million contract. Then that got extended to a $31 million contract. So that's one contract, that's 2 contracts. And now they're doing this massive $90 million contract. Now, the first 2 contracts for 17 and 31 million, that was specific to COVID relief and distribution of COVID PPP, so on and so forth. Everything related to COVID. This is across the entire agency. So now you got to ask yourself, That is very, very interesting. How and why? That means that Palantir did such a bang-up job, such a tremendous job, that they saw the unbelievable and undeniable and unlivable without capabilities of Palantir. That's the thing with Palantir. Once you use Palantir, you're not going to use anybody else. They seldomly lose contracts. However, they quite frequently increase the contract amounts and increase the different contracts within an agency. Because you understand, an agency is like its own country. So a country, United States, has like, let's say 12 agencies, for example. Well, each of those agencies have 12 subsets, and each subset has a subset and a subset and a department, so on and so forth. So now Palantir is not just locking up a specific category in the HHS, they're locking down the entire agency. There's a huge difference over here. That means that I went up the line and they're like, yo, Palantir is the shit, and we're not doing anything without them. A $90 million contract for 5 years is absolutely massive. Think about it. 17 million, 31 million, and now 90 million. Total, these contracts is nearly $150 million worth for Palantir. What do you think is going to happen in the future? What do you think is going to happen with other government agencies? And that's the definition of net retention of a client, but I'll explain that a little bit later after this article. Palantir's first task order obtained under the contract vehicles framework is a 10.5-month multi-million-dollar contract to support HHS core administrative data and application through a vertically integrated platform that allows teams to configure low to no code applications to manage, ingest, and access data securely across business domains. Now, keep paying attention. Configure low to no code applications. Why? The fact that Palantir could take low code or no code, and you don't need to be a crazy developer to use Palantir's platform, is the key to Palantir's success. Because if Palantir can make it that much easier, and you don't need to be so super genius to use Palantir, because Palantir is the super genius that allows you to do like a very simplistic version. So simplistic goes in, Palantir spits it out, and super complicated comes out, right? Palantir is the artificial brain. Palantir is the AI data application. That's what they mean by AI data analytics. And by doing that, they can spend less money in hiring these crazy people, and they can hire somebody that's a little cheaper because their skill level is not as high and is not needed for the Palantir platform. And I quote, "We are grateful for our continued partnership with HHS and the confidence in our software it is showing by selecting Palantir for a long-term, wide-range blanket purchase agreement," said Akish Janin, president of Palantir USG. And I quote, "We are proud to provide the software backbone to some of the country's most critical public health missions. Palantir Foundry enables data-driven decision-making by integrating data from siloed data sources and enabling granular access to data across various organizations. It is already used by the National Institutes of Health, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, and the Food and Drug Administration, and was also used by several military branches to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Palantir is an absolute monster. Now let me show you a slide and let me show you a definition. Whenever Palantir has an earnings call, they give out this presentation. They're going to have another presentation in 5 days on May 9th. When you go to the presentation, it gives you a ton of information. I want to specifically look at this, right? Government business. The government momentum, as you can see, Q1 2021, 76%, then it went down to 66%, 34%, and 26%. So people are like, oh, wow, it's going down. This is what I want you to pay attention to. On the bottom left-hand side, it says Q4 2020, we had 90 clients. 1 year later, we also have 90 clients. And now you can say, Adam, the clients didn't really go up. And yes, a lot of analysts are not paying attention to what's going on. And this is one of the main reasons why Cathie Wood sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Palantir stock. I think she made a mistake, but none of this is financial advice. I'm just an entertainer and educator at best. All I could do is bring you the data, bring you to the river, and show you how to fish. But you got to make that decision if you're eating or not, or if you're buying or not, or selling, whatever. Stand on your own 2 feet and make your own decision. But I want you to pay attention to something right here. On the top right-hand side, it says net dollar retention, which is quite interesting. What exactly is net dollar retention, and how can it be more than 100%? What is net dollar retention? Net dollar retention, sometimes referred to as net revenue retention, measures how much your annual reoccurring revenue or monthly reoccurring revenue has grown or shrunk over time by factoring in customer expansion as well as negative churn and downgrades. What does that mean in plain English? Net retention of a client means how much money you can extract, get, increase over time by increasing and upgrading and getting more contracts. So there's 2 ways to increase your business. One way is to get brand new clients. The second way is to increase how much each client is giving you. Did Palantir get new clients over 1 year? No, not in the government sector. In the commercial, yeah, it grew massively, but not in the government sector, and I could admit that. However, at the end of the day and the bottom line, we increased how much money we're getting from our existing clients by 46% in the government sector without having to actually sign up new clients. Now, it's so funny when people are like, oh, did you sign up new customers? Did you sign up new clients? So this HHS contract, would you call it 1 contract or 2? Technically, it's 1 contract because it's 1 agency, and that's how Palantir defines a contract. However, you could look at it as 2 contracts. Forget about what it says in the paperwork, but it's 2 contracts. You have the actual subset agency of COVID relief, and then you have the actual broad across the entire agency of HHS. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Do you understand how people can play with words? And do you understand why we are so underrated with analysts? Because most analysts are not going to look at it like this. Now, some starting to look at it, but most analysts, and it's going to be funny what I'm going to say right now, and you guys are probably going to think I'm a clown, but most analysts analyze worse than YouTubers. Let me rephrase that. Most analysts do not dig as deep or in depth as us YouTubers. But not all of us YouTubers, right? Not everybody is great. But some of us with half a brain look into this and dig deep. And it's just not Palantir. And I'm not just talking about Palantir. I'm talking about a lot of different stocks and cryptos for that matter, real estate, so on and so forth. We do a pretty good job because we are doing this a lot. And we have a lot of support with Twitter, with Facebook, with Insta, other YouTubers, so on and so forth, and word of mouth, where we share information and we bounce information off of one each other. So if you give us 10 YouTubers, if you give me Ahmet, if you give me I Am Tom Nash, if you give me Palantrinian, if you give me Palantir Vision, all the Palantir YouTubers, well, we each will have a different opinion and a different point of view to the same contract that came out today. But we bounce ideas off of each other, whether we're speaking to each other directly or indirectly, watching each other's content. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give me the likes, please give me the shares, and please give me the subscribe. If you're feeling this type of content, if you're feeling this type of conviction, if you're feeling this absolutely, I wake up at 6:30 a.m. just to make these videos for you guys. I love you all, I truly, truly do. And without you guys, this channel could not have grown to 443 subscribers. 443 subscribers. You guys are absolute studs. Thank you so much. Have a great day.